Fear and Hunger is one of the most horrifying games I have ever played. The disturbing topics it touches on, enemies and its horrifying lore, and... how do people can even talk like that, honestly? Hello everyone, not having a hell let loose addiction here. Today we are covering Fear and Hunger, the video game that everyone had to watch at least 10 hours of video essays, but in practice hardly anyone dared to play the game, as it seems that everyone thinks that it's dark and disturbing and disgusting. And they are partially right, as Fear and Hunger is purely a Birmingham simulator. Obviously you would find a giant deformed man with a meat cleaver somewhere in the dark corner of that cursed city. We will be playing with the Repentance mod, which outside of including bugfix mod as a standard, also introduces some new content which we will cover in due time, but most importantly it adds more ways to suffer. And if you glazed over my content, you would figure that mods and suffering are kinda my thing. Kinda goes hand in hand, you know? And final thing before we jump in, we will be playing on Terror and Starvation. Why? I haven't spent 10 years in the joint, obviously, and most of Repentance content is locked behind Terror and Starvation mode, so... we have 4 choices, those blocks in here, plus additional one where you play as Lagarde, but I don't really feel like playing Lagarde at this point, so I'll go with this Breakout reject today. Name, Ragnavava. Fuck bows, read books like a nerd, don't touch anything, finally run after the mercenary leader. Here we are in the in-game overworld, right before entering London. We have 2 choices in terms of how we can start. We can either go through the main gate to get your skull paint by Mr. Wiggles and his friends, who got a little too hungry this morning. The more sensible choice is the basement, which just like a real British basement is inhabited by homeless hentai monsters and that annoying witch that sucks you into an alternative dimension. And here is where I'd like to talk about one of the most important mechanics of the game. Namely gambling! Not even this game is safe from getting 9 blues and 1 gold, you damn bro! Every once in a while we get prompted to choose to flip a coin. Those determine a myriad of results, like the crate loot for example, but most of the time I just get beaten up by the police, or you know, just fail necromancy 6 times in a row. The other main driving force for the game is its combat. There are 2 general ways for an RPG Maker game to approach its enemy encounters. First, where we are assaulted by god knows what every couple of steps, or by sprites moving at Mach 10. Funger lands squarely in the second camp, but most of the encounters can be duped if you are good enough. The battles themselves is where the shit really gets crazy, as the closest comparison would be the Fallout series. Though definitely not this one. No, this one doesn't fit in either. Yeah, this one. The VAT system from those works in a similar way. You target one of the limbs and you have a chance to cripple it, rendering it useless. And while you can't target the eyes of the enemy for an instant win, in most of the cases you can still target enemies' genitals, so like it says in a book,
what fucking book?
We are both blessed and cursed. This mechanic goes both ways, as you can also lose limbs, and yes, you heard me, this is one of the very few games where you can actually feel the phantom pain.